What's up, guys? Today, quick review, or maybe not so quick review, on this Sonic Strat. So I wanted another Strat, and this happens to be the Sonic series from Squier. And, there was a lot, everybody's hyped up and this and that about this series, and, you got your snobs out there that, hear with their eyes instead of their ears. And I got this from Sweetwater. So the body, it measures 13 inches from that point to that point. And then the thickness is 40 mil. It's not the 45 mil, so 1.5 inches opposed to the 1 3/4. I wanted one with the maple neck. And then what I'm going to do, the tuners are, on the cheaper side, but too many people get hung up with that shit. If you address the nut and you got the right brake angle, and like I use 10s, and you file these out for 10s, you're not going to have no issues once it's set up. So I don't know if Sweetwater did anything, but if you look at that saddle, that has the same radius as the board, and I'm guessing this has a 9 1/4 fret radius. I'm going to end up changing out the, it's probably an import switch, which is garbage, so I got a blade switch that I'm going to put in here. Some new pickups, so we'll take a look inside here. It only has the 1-ply, but again, the 1-ply it's as thick as the 3-ply. It just doesn't have that pinstripe, which I don't really care about. It doesn't matter to me. I did notice there was some guy, he Elmo something, he reviewed these and he's like, oh, it has bad fret buzz. This is right out of the box. It has the tags and everything on it, yet I ran my finger down here. There's no fret sprout, and the weather, it hasn't been real nice out. I don't feel none of that. The frets are on the smaller side, so they're a little narrower, and then they're more tall. It is what it is. Before I pull this apart, I'm gonna tune it up, make sure it plays right, and then we'll take the strings off as I do with all my guitars I get, and put some 10s on it. It does come with a whammy bar, an extra spring, which I'll be replacing the strings because I do not like Fenders or Squier's springs. They're too weak. A lot of people like the vintage ones. I have some over here that are the heavier ones, and I'll be putting them in as well. And the bridge right now is decked. So once I tune it up, plug it in, see if I like it, we'll pull the strings off of it. We'll take a look inside, see how it's routed out, see if I'm right that it comes with an import switch. Overall, it looks right. That's the back. This one has the skunk stripe, and again, in that guy's video, he's like, oh no, I mean, yeah, I'm not sponsored or anything. Nobody pays me for this shit. So like he said, he buys everything with his own money, as do I. So it's not sponsored, but the neck feels good. It doesn't feel rough. And if it did, take some 4/0 steel wool and do that. I'll check that the screws are tight, or snugged up. It has the same bridge as the Affinity that I have, and instead of having the little screws there, it has to hold these in place on the tuners. They have like 2 little pins that are drilled there. So again, too many people get hung up on tuners. It's like, oh yeah, it won't stay in tone and this and that. Well, did you check your nut? That's the first place you want to check. It don't make sense. But these pickups here, you can see, they got the raised poles. I got different ones over there I'm going to go ahead and put in. And we'll cut back after I take a listen to it. And if I'm happy with it, we'll pull this off. Take a look what's inside. Alright, so I wasn't going to shoot this part, but it's worth noting. These tuners, there's nothing wrong with them. They're actually better than the Affinity tuners on my other Strat. They shipped it whole step down. The wraps on each post are different, so I'm not really worried about that. They're 9s, I could tell that. So I'll be putting 10s on and addressing the nut just to accommodate them. I don't know how the nut is. I didn't check it out, you know, to see the relief or anything there. But these tuners are fine. All right, so the way this is wired, you got this control, this tone knob controlling the bridge, so there's no need to do the modification. And then when we switch to position 2, you got this one and this one controlling. 3, the same thing. Both tones control that. 4th position, the same deal. Both control. And then the neck, 5th position, it's just this one. It's worth noting, you know, I didn't adjust the pickup heights or anything, but the bridge sounds real shitty. I don't think I like these pickups at all, but run through a couple of open chords. And then we'll move to 2nd position. Middle. And the tone is, or the volume's all the way up, and I'll roll that down in a minute. But anyway, 4th position. And then the 5th. And then back to the bridge, and we'll roll it off to, I don't know, halfway, I'll say. Both tones all the way up and the volume halfway down. They're definitely not my favorite pickup. Alright, so before I rip this thing apart and you know, set it up the way I want it set up, figured I'll do a riff or two. So the first time around, that was the neck. Second time around was the bridge with the volume rolled off because it's real ice picky, tin canny. Actually, tin canny is a better word. Sustain's nice, and that's without a setup too. Okay, so before I rip this apart, tune the pitch, capo 1st fret, and then fret the last one, and 10 thousandths feeler gauge under 8th fret. So we don't have quite that. I could see the string lifting a little bit. That means we have more of a back bow, and then if you release the truss rod, you'll pull it towards you, righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. So that will create more of a, you know, front bow. I did hear a little bit of fret buzz when I was playing, and that's because we have a lot of back bow. Before I move on, I did a video just the other day with a triangle file, fret crowning file. And I see so many people, and they don't explain it, at least to me, they didn't explain it properly. And I figured I would just touch on this. I'm going to be doing a leveling on the Asthorpe. And if we look at this fret right here, there is a flat there. So after you use your leveling beam, there's a thin slither. So when you see people mark the Sharpie, and you take that triangle file, you're going to go across and follow the radius of that fret, and it's just going to go off. It's gonna create a flat here, And then as you make this side of the fret come in towards the middle, you're going to do the same with this side. Follow the fret, and you're going to make this side come in. Right now, and then what I see a lot of people doing, and you can do it, but I wouldn't spend a lot of time doing it, is rubbing the sandpaper this way and that way, because if you see there's clearly a flat here. That flat is just about 1/32 of an inch, a little less. And it depends on the, fret size that you have. These are, very small frets. But nevertheless, that is about, how much you want. The fret job, it's not as high a polish, but that's another thing that gets me. These guys will fucking polish them to a mirror shine, and then when you're doing bends and shit like that, you're only going to scratch them up anyway. So there's really no sense in it. These are sliding smoothly. You can hear that. So that's my take on that. Okay, so the action. Where are we at with that? From right out of the box. 12th fret. We are right on that 2/32 line, and that follows suit all the way across. And I don't know if the camera is going to pick this up, but anyway, you're just right on the line of 2/32. I like always 3/32 on the low E and the A, and then over here on the high E and B, I like 2/32. Just my preference, but that's the way it comes from the factory. All right, so starting at the back, these bolts had to be snugged up. They were loose. Inside here, this wire is very long, and if you're moving, I just don't like it above the spring, so I'll reroute that. And when I pull that off, this isn't routed as nice as my Affinity. Has the same cheesy, block. The Affinity has a hole where the trim goes there, and that did not come with a spring either for the tremolo bar. So they do, yeah, I mean, maybe it's not on all of them, but there's some polishing compound left over. So getting these control knobs off, if you don't have the tool, get a piece of ribbon or, something and stick it under there, wrap it around, and then what you're going to do is hold down the scratch guard and you're going to pull up. One thing I wasn't, expecting is usually when I get a left-handed guitar, one is always 10 and then 10 is always off for me. So it's a nice touch that they did. Okay, so all the screws are out, and this, I couldn't get the scratch guard up. It, just doesn't want to come up. So what the problem is, I thought they cut the wire too short, and I'm wondering how the hell. Well, they left a long piece of wire here. So if you run into this and you're changing anything, you're going to have to take this off, maybe, if you're running into the problem, and feed this wire back through there so you can flip the pick guard around. So they did do some nice soldering. I mean, whoever soldered it did a very nice job on that. All right, so we got that wire fished back through here. And just to take an overlook of what's going on here, they got neck, middle, and bridge marked on there, but the magnets, it looks like they're wax potted. They got the magnets on each side of the poles. Cheesy pots, but they'll do for now. The wiring, self-explanatory in my other videos, although they did do the bridge mod, so it looks like that's right here. So this second tone pot is soldered to here, and then the green one goes to this tone pot, and that enables you to have the bridge mod done, and then your two commons 4 and 5 are soldered together, bridge, neck, middle. But I do like that they left some extra wire here, because it's the shitty import switch, and that's just garbage. It's like a printed circuit board. If you can see it from this side, it's gonna wear out. So the shielding, You know, it's not really a lot there. There's the routing, so you can definitely, I see they burn through under the scratch plate with the buffing wheel over there. No, yeah, I mean, you could fit a humbucker, and humbucker in there if you wanted to. It's not really routed nicely. Looks like shielding paint. Okay, so what you're gonna do if you want to test if this is shielded, set it to ohms. You're gonna put your negative probe. It doesn't matter. You could put negative, positive. It doesn't matter. That's flashing open right now. So if we touch the bridge here, and I'm just gonna go in the whammy hole, and then we come back over here, it's showing resistance. So that's shielding paint that they put in here. And the other thing you could do is touch this along with that, and you could see there is resistance there. So that's shielding paint that they have in here. We're on the bridge pickup now. We're at 605. So we'll switch to the middle pickup, and we are at 556. Switch to the neck pickup, and we are at 553. So that's the output of these original pickups. Okay, so after all of that, you can make your own decision if the guitar is worth it or not. In my opinion, it is, and I wouldn't hesitate to buy another one. And I think you got all the information you're going to need.